What's going on, guys? It's your average consumer, and as you know, it's iPhone day. So today we are going to unbox a bunch of iPhones and accessories and cool things you're gonna wanna check out for the newest lineup. So let's get right into it. All right, so we've got our 15 Pros over here. Put that off to the side. And these are the new 15s. So we've got the 15 in yellow and the 15 Plus in pink. I feel like pink's getting a lot of the attention these days, so let's go ahead and unbox this one first. There you have it. And man, listen, when we dropped the video and I said this is a new look for the iPhone, everyone went nuts and said it's exactly the same. Well, guys, listen to me. What Apple has done here with the color is definitely a new thing. But we're gonna touch on the color in just a second. We're gonna see what else we have in the box. Although the way this looks and feels, not gonna lie, it's nice. But all right, also inside of the box, we now get a USB-C to C cable, because as you know, the iPhone no longer has a Lightning port. It now has USB-C. And with the USB-C you get included in the box, it is a braided cable. So this is a similar braided cable to what we see with some of the more expensive Apple products. I'm talking the Mac Pros, colored iMacs, Apple Watch Ultra. They all have like this braided look. And now that's coming down to all of the iPhones. You know, it's gonna be so confusing for folks who say, hey, you got an iPhone charger? Now they gotta be like, which one? But we also get some paperwork, very minimal paperwork here. eSIM card, sticker, and some safety information over here. And that's pretty much it. But now let's take a look at the 15. And like I said, we got it here in pink. So here's what's new about this, you guys. So Apple has changed the way they implement the color on the iPhone. It's actually infused into the glass. And now it has like this matte texture to it. It feels really nice. And the color is really subtle. Like I'm not a pink lover, but even this pink looks really good. The way it's done, I like it a lot. There are actually a few different colors here. There's pink, yellow, blue, green, and black. And I'd say the yellow, green, and blue are on the lighter side. They don't have a ton of color, not as saturated as the pink. Pink definitely pops quite a bit more in person. So let's go ahead, take that thing off, and power it on. Oh, you know what, Jay? You're right. This is gonna be great for fingerprints. If you're bold enough to walk around with no case, fingerprints are not gonna be a concern as much, not only because of the lighter color. When you've got a lighter device, you don't really see fingerprints as easily, but this material overall, definitely not a fingerprint magnet. And the sides, yeah, Jay, I think you'd be pretty safe, even for you. I'm pretty bad, but Jay's worse, and I think we'd both be okay. And immediately one of the changes that I'm noticing are the rounded edges. Now, we're not talking about the corners or anything. We're talking about the actual edges of the frame. And those are more rounded now. Feels a bit more comfortable to hold in the hand, and even having it rest on the pinky, Jay, like we talked about, I think it's not gonna do as much damage as it's done before. Bottom, of course, we've got that USB-C port, and what's nice is that they even color match the inside of the port as well. So depending on what color you get, it'll match on the inside. But overall, the rest of like the buttons, you still got your mute switch here, all of that is still the same. Physically, what's different though, is we no longer have a notch on the screen. So now we've got the dynamic island that we first saw introduced with the 14 Pro. Now it's made its way across the entire line. So with this, you'll be able to get notifications or see the status of different applications. And you'll also be able to interact with those applications while you're doing other things. It's a very, very neat feature. And I'm glad that everyone's now going to be able to use it. That also means it's going to get more popular. We'll see more apps take advantage of it since all of the iPhones are using this feature now. So now you'll be able to see all the things that the dynamic island brings to the table. You also just get quite a bit more screen at the top. So clearly this is like a new screen, but one more thing that's new about this screen is that it's going to get quite a bit brighter. So we got 1,000 nits of brightness here with a peak brightness of 1,600 nits. So when you're watching like HDR content, but if you're outdoors and it's like crazy sunny or something, this can go all the way up to 2,000 nits. So I'm curious to see if we can get that triggered. I wanna see what that's like, but 2,000 nits is a really good thing. On the back, we've got our two cameras. We've got our 48 megapixel wide angle lens as well as our 12 megapixel ultra wide. But because you can basically crop in a bit with this 48 megapixel lens and get a tighter shot, Apple says, like, you know, it's like having 3 lenses on your phone. Not something we've seen typically with the standard iPhone lineup that aren't the Pros. And it pans out. Now on the inside, we've got the A16 Bionic processor, the same chip that was in the iPhone 14 Pro lineup. So we've now got that power on the standard lineup, which should be a good jump from the 14 and 14 Plus. So boom, that's your super quick rundown of the iPhone 15 or 15 Plus. Let's at least take a look at the color of this 15 that we've got over here. And there we have it. You see, this yellow is so light. It's really light. Man, I don't know. That smaller form factor.
You miss it?
Is it the year I go down to the 15 Pro and not the Max? No, it's not. All right, so we've got our 15 and 15 Plus over here. Now let's take a look at these guys. Which one do we do first?
I want to see the blue.
Okay, yeah. Fair enough. Let's do it. So right here, we've got the 15, 15 Pro. That blue looks good, man. Dang. Nah, this, I don't know. It was between natural titanium and blue, but blue's looking really good. So there's a couple colors with the new Pro lineup. There's blue, black, white, and natural titanium. So those are your 4 color options. I feel like natural titanium is getting a lot of attention. So let's open that up right now too. And I mean, inside the Pro box is the same as the 15 box. Nothing different here. Natural titanium. Okay, it does look good too though. Not gonna lie. See, what's nice about the natural titanium is that it also matches the Apple Watch Ultra. So it's the same natural titanium look. Right. So you've got like a matching iPhone for this watch. So that's like one of the nice little bonuses there. So all of them feature this brushed titanium and they all look really good. But you know what? Let's talk about this titanium a little bit more, right? So now the iPhone actually has slightly smaller bezels. So it's 0.9 millimeters thinner on all sides. So it's a slightly smaller body. And we've got those rounded edges that we also saw on the 15. And that's interesting. So it's like basically a smaller iPhone, but you still keep the same screen size as like the 14 Pro Max or 14 Pro. Now the Pros also have USB-C at the bottom. Now there is a difference between this USB-C and the one you can find here. So this one uses USB 2, while this one uses USB 3. Basically what that means, you guys, for the everyday person, this is going to transfer data faster than these guys over here. So if you're, you know, moving files around a lot, you're moving around a lot of media or something, this one is going to transfer faster. Now also on this titanium iPhone, we've got the action button. Now, I've been waiting for the action button for a long time. We've seen it on Android phones, and I am very happy we have it here as well. Now this button's really cool because by default, it'll still mute and unmute your phone, but you can go ahead and change that to whatever action you'd like. So really quick rundown, if you've got the action button set as your ringer toggle, a quick press will show you the status of it, and a long press will actually change it. So quick press, you get the status, long press, you can see it change. Now you can actually go into the settings here and it's got this whole cool UI where you can see all of the different things that you can change the action button to. You can even create shortcuts. So if you wanted to do some elaborate thing with your smart home and HomeKit, you'll actually be able to control it with the press of a button. I'm gonna probably just have it as my camera or my flashlight. Surprisingly, I use my flashlight a lot and I'm not the only one. I saw a lot of people say flashlight as well, so I'm not crazy. Now, let's talk about the cameras in the back. So we've always had our ultra wide lens, which lets you see a whole lot in your frame. But that lens also doubles as a macro lens. So if you wanna get like really close to a subject, you'll be able to get a really close-up shot. Think like having a microscope, not to that level, but something similar. And you also get those wide shots. That's 2 lenses. Now you have your 48 megapixel wide angle lens, And this will allow you to shoot in a couple of different focal lengths. Now with this 48 megapixel camera, you'll be able to shoot at 24 millimeter, 28 millimeter, 35 millimeter, and when you hit 2 times, you'll get your 48 millimeter. So you've got those 4 different focal lengths running off of the 48 megapixel camera. And what's nice here is when you zoom in, you're not losing quality. We've all seen digital zoom kind of destroy pictures, but thankfully we're not gonna be experiencing that when you're switching between those different focal lengths. And for our last one, we've got our telephoto, and they're different depending on the 15 Pro model that you go with. On this one, the regular 15 Pro, you're looking at a 77 millimeter telephoto lens. And on the 15 Pro Max, you're looking at the 120 millimeter 5-time optical zoom. So 3 times here, 5 times here. So if you need a little bit more, you probably want to look at the Max, and those are our 7 lenses. Now, something that the 15 lineup has access to with these cameras is something I've been dying for a long time, and that is being able to turn live photos into portrait mode photos. So these new cameras are going to be able to capture the depth information. Now, it does it automatically for faces of humans as well as dogs and cats. But if you tap the subject, it should also be able to produce that, but it does it automatically for those 3 categories. But that is something that I've been dying for. So we are going to absolutely test that out. Now, in terms of the screen on the Pro, it's a little bit different from the standard 15s. This one does have Pro Motion, so it goes up to 120, and it also goes up to 2000 nits of like really peak brightness outdoors. Now, inside of this guy, we've got the A17 Pro. Now, that is a new chip. Apple switched up the name. They moved away from Bionic, and now they're straight up calling it Pro. And this is gonna unlock a few things. We're gonna see new camera capabilities with the Photonic engine, so it should make pictures even better. We're testing that out for sure. But one thing that's really got my attention with having the amount of power that the A17 Pro brings is gaming. So we are now going to be seeing AAA titles come to the iPhone. Resident Evil is gonna be coming out for this, as well as an Assassin's Creed, which is also coming out for like consoles. So is Apple really creating the next generation gaming console? They've been talking about it for years now. And it looks like they're getting closer and closer to that being a reality. So we're starting to go from like just mobile games to console games that are on like the PS5, Xbox, come down to this. Now, I'm quite interested in seeing what this is all going to feel like when you're actually using it. So stay tuned to a real day in the life with all of these phones. That's gonna be coming really soon, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you wanna see what it's like to actually use it in the real world and not just talk numbers. Now, something worth mentioning is that all of the iPhones pretty much keep the same pricing models, except for the 15 Pro Max. This one now starts at 256 gigs of storage, and it starts at $1199. So they basically cut out the 128 gig option. So if you are interested in that, you're gonna have to go one step up. It's not a price increase, but it is a higher entry point for the Max version. I gotta say, the whole rounded edges thing, I was kind of like, meh, no big deal, until you really hold it. Now that I'm holding like the phone that could potentially be my actual phone, I feel quite a bit of a difference. So this right here is my 14 Pro Max. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Not that it honestly matters. I'm gonna throw a case on this like ASAP.
You can now repair these now, so you don't need a case.
It does have easier repairability, so, I mean, that's true. I still don't wanna have to deal with that, so I'm still using a case. And speaking of cases, we've actually got quite a few here. So these are Apple's new fine woven cases, as well as their silicone cases. So this is the fine woven material here, and it feels like, I mean, it's woven, it feels like cloth. It's really nice looking. I am wondering how it's gonna hold up in terms of durability. It looks really nice, but we're gonna have to put this thing to the test, kind of see how it is to use this. Let's pop the phone in and see it. All right, and there we have it. But they also still have silicone cases, so let's go for the yellow one.
That's a yellow?
Well, this is not yellow, it's like an orange. I'm matching it up with yellow, but this is more of an orange, a really light orange. And you know, tried and true silicone case, feels like you'd expect, very grippy. I've always been a fan of the silicone cases. Now, you know, we got more accessories here, and we're gonna jump right into the new AirPods second generation? The second generation of the second generation AirPods, now with USB-C. So of course, paperwork, quick start guide, that kind of deal. And here we've got the new AirPods. Underneath it, we've got our braided cable, which has USB-C to C. And above that, we've got some extra silicone tips from extra small, small to large. And of course, medium's already on it. Now let's pop this thing open. And here we have it. These are the new AirPods, but with USB Type-C. Now these are interesting because they've also been updated with USB Type-C, but the architecture on the audio side has also changed so that this thing can work and give you lossless audio with the Apple Vision Pro. Now what's also new with these earbuds is that you're going to have access to adaptive audio as long as your device has iOS 17. So you get that adaptive audio where it mixes the world of noise cancellation and transparency mode. Depending on your environment, it allows certain sounds in, so maybe like a car honking its horn, because you know when you're in active noise cancellation mode, you really can't hear that kind of thing. So it blends the worlds to make sure you get the important sounds in. That's something we're gonna have to try out and see for ourselves. And there's also another cool feature called conversation mode, where basically when you speak to someone, it's going to drop the volume down, open up the transparency mode, allow you to have your conversation. Once you're done with that conversation, it should go ahead and kick the music back on. So some features that we've seen with like other devices, like the Sonys, but I'm curious to see how well Apple implements it to the AirPods. So that's what we've got here, and I'm really excited to try it out. But what's special about having USB Type-C is that if you've got an iPhone also with USB Type-C, you'll now be able to charge it. So you can take your USB, let's grab any of these, your USB-C cable, plug it in here, and you can plug this one in here, and we are now charging, baby. And you still get access to the quick charge features here when using it with the iPhone. You know the iPhone can charge like other iPhones now, right? Okay. Well, it can charge pretty much, I think, any device with USB PD. So that's kind of nice. The question is what happens if you charge two iPhones? Well, whichever has the most battery is gonna be the one that charges.
Oh, okay.
What happens if they're both at like 50 though? Does the world explode? But yeah, these are the new AirPods. I'm gonna probably do a full video on this, so make sure you're subbed for that as well. And I almost missed the fine woven wallet. Let's check this out. It's a really nice material. I'm just curious how it's gonna hold up, but it's nice. Now we've got one more accessory here, and this is from Belkin actually. Now we all know iOS 17 is hitting the iPhones, and there's a feature called nightstand, I think nightstand mode, and this is basically going to enable you to do that. So let's take a look here. Really, really simple. So it is a wireless charger, of course, with MagSafe inside of here. Let's see. Charging cable. But this is a feature that we'll talk about in another video, but if you're interested in, you know, actually using nightstand mode, this is an option. Now there's a lot out there. I'm gonna be having an accessories video, so you guys be on the lookout for that as well, where you can see a few options that have kind of unlocked this feature. But that's about it. That is our quick unboxing of everything that is new with Apple, except for the Apple Watch. We didn't get our hands on the Apple Watch just yet, so stay tuned for another video on that. We'll be unboxing that and checking it out. But yeah, these are the newest iPhones and some of the accessories that you can get your hands on. Lots of videos coming soon, you guys. So definitely stay tuned. We got a lot to talk about. Till next video, guys, your average consumer. Peace. I'll also have everything like linked down below so you guys can check it out. Later.